Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Legends of Sport podcast. I'm your host, Andy Bernstein. Continuing our series of interviews from NBA Summer League in Las Vegas, I was able to sit down with ESPN journalist Dave McMenamin. I've known Dave a long time, and he has always been a good friend of the Legends of Sport podcast, so it was great to have him back on for this episode. Big congrats to Dave and Malika Andrews on their marriage shortly after we recorded this episode. Dave was a huge help to my good friend Nat Butler with the editorial content for his brand new book, Courtside, 40 Years of NBA Photography. If you haven't already picked up a copy, please do yourself a favor or someone you love a favor and get a copy of Nat's book. It is terrific. Thanks again to Dave for stopping by. I hope you all enjoy this episode, and as always, I'll see you on the backside. All right, here we are, NBA Summer League with my buddy Dave McMenamin. Good to see you, Dave.
Great to see you, Andy.
Thanks for coming by. We got our set here.
Very nice. Nice digs.
Rocking and rolling at Summer League, right? So you've been a busy guy lately.
Yeah.
What's going on in your world,
Sure. Covering the Lakers has become a 365-day endeavor.
Yes.
And I felt like I got a bit of a break from them when they lost in the first round to the Denver Nuggets. ESPN assigned me to cover the rest of the playoffs. I covered that excellent Denver-Minnesota series in the second round, obviously Western Conference Finals and the finals. But basically as soon as the finals was over, the Lakers started making news again, hiring J.J. Redick, and then obviously – an eventful couple days of the NBA draft, getting Dalton Connect, who fell to them at 17, and I think the team's very excited about that. And then, of course, Bronny James. You've covered a ton of history. This is one thing I can say I'll have over you. I will get to cover this firsthand.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a little jealous of that, but that's okay. It's funny because I remember, a lot of people probably don't remember, but Gordie Howe came out of retirement, right, I think he was 52 years old to play with both his sons.
Yeah, very cool.
In the WHA.
Yeah.
So it's a monumental thing LeBron is doing. I mean, a lot of people say it's self-serving, blah, blah, blah. I think it's cool. Anyway, Dave, we're here at Summer League, and I know you've covered LeBron his entire career, right?
Well, since he returned to Cleveland.
Okay,
so we're going on a decade now.
It's
aged me in dog years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But did you cover him in Summer League in his rookie year?
No, I was still in college myself.
Still a child?
Yeah. Fortunately. But that Summer League, I believe, was in Orlando.
Okay, that's right.
And I do have a story from that. Tad Carper, the longtime PR kind of impresario for the Cavs, remembers there was like a players-only parking lot that the Cavs pulled into, and they pull up in a Greyhound bus or whatever, and everybody's filing out.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden, you see little puffs of dust coming up from around the cars that were already parked there.
Yeah.
People had slept underneath snuck into the parking lot.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they slept there, but they hid underneath cars.
Come on.
So when the Cavs and LeBron arrived, they could bum rush them, getting autograph requests and photo requests.
I mean, I've been known to do that in my job, but that's a whole other story.
That's right.
So tell me something, man. I'm transitioning, pivoting, whatever you want to call it, off the court. Fantastic Hall of Fame, 43-year career.
Yeah, show the ring.
I'm very thankful, and I have this bandwidth left in my work life. You made a big pivot, right, from being a scribe, a guy sort of behind the pen and paper, so to speak, to in front of the camera. How was that transition for you?
It was. It came at a good time in my career, I guess, and certainly writing to me is still a constant craft that I'm trying to get better at and trying to be any good at, quite frankly, because it's a hard thing to do really well. But at the stage of my career, I'd been covering the league for about 10 years, and I'm going on like 20 now, when I was first given the opportunity to do more regular television. And it's just a completely different discipline. And I think it just kind of recommitted myself to the job in a way that it wasn't like, of course, I've always felt grateful to have this opportunity. I love basketball. I love the people in it. I love the stories. But it was just kind of a new way to approach covering it. And as you know, like FaceTime is invaluable in this business. And whether it's from showing up or by appearing on a screen in the team's locker room, whatever, that extra maybe smidge of familiarity has helped open up some doors for then. So say when I go cover the conference playoffs this year, and I'm not around those teams all year long like I am with the Lakers, the players – I'm a little bit more easier to approach these guys because it's not like I'm a stranger out of nowhere.
Oh, that's the TV guy. Yeah, he's all right.
Sure. Yeah. Then you sometimes that reputation works against you, but sometimes it opens the door.
But as a journalist, right? I mean, you're used to I'm sure you do your research and all your preparation the same way, right? But you're talking in small snippets now.
Yeah, that's
right. You're taking a story like this and like that.
It's the editing. Kind of as you go, right? Versus writing, it's very meticulous, and you're going to go through many drafts. But how can I be as succinct as possible, engaging, hopefully maybe a little entertaining,
right?
And get your information across.
Yeah. Well, one of the topics I want to talk to you about is trust. Okay, you touched on it a little bit earlier, and a guy like LeBron has a very tight inner circle. Kobe did too. Yep. To sort of earn your way in there, and especially as a journalist, because you got to report everything that goes on, right? For me, it was a lot easier. I got to say, I wasn't there to report anything negative, make them look bad, all that. You got to do both sides of the story.
Sure.
So to keep that trust and have earned it and keep it and stand by your moral principles and your journalistic principles, has that been interesting?
I mean, it's certainly been interesting. I guess I would use the word challenging as well, but mostly I've been fortunate enough to be able to trust my instincts up to this point and have my editors and producers trust me trusting my instincts. But there are times where listen, it's really hard for me to cover. You don't know this. The NBA is kind of star-based. So if I'm assigned to a team and I don't have some sort of working relationship with the star of the team, then it's hard for me to really establish value in terms of being a reporter, because people who pay attention to the NBA, fans, readers, viewers, etc., they kind of want the star information and then kind of funnel out from there.
Right.
And so being a fan growing up, I kind of knew that. And so I was fortunate enough to, before I started covering LeBron on a daily basis, I was covering Kobe and the Lakers as well. And I was
That's when we met.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a framed photo you took of Kobe and I on the wall of my office. I was able to establish a little bit of that relationship with Kobe, and you just see – you get the respect of your peers. You get far more engagement in the work that you produce. And quite frankly, the bosses like it too. And so that was important to me when I moved to Cleveland in 2014 to do whatever I can to show LeBron James that I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to play games or have hidden agendas. Sometimes you might not like what I write, but I'll be as upfront as possible. And what I'm in this for is not to become, famous. I don't want my own television show. It's really like I love basketball at an outsized amount, and I've been able to take my journalism kind of training and apply that to that.
Right.
And I think that's helped me with the guys who LeBron and Kobe happen to be superstars that actually genuinely love basketball, and that as we both know, there's some guys who are considered superstars in the sport that wouldn't have that same checkbox applied to how they view the game.
No, I'm smiling because I'm thinking of a story about LeBron actually, and it was the Redeem team in 2008. And I had been around LeBron, it's 4 years in by that point, right? And I'd been around him as early as right after the draft of Magic's, summer game that he did, and his opening game. I was there for that, and All-Star and all. But I wasn't in with him, and I don't know if he knew who I was or what I was doing or anything.
Right.
So I'm with the Redeem team. You'll love this story. And LeBron is doing a shoe launch.
Okay.
And I think we were in Shanghai or Beijing or somewhere. And NBA says, go to the green room at this Foot Locker, and it was literally like a storeroom, and just hang out with LeBron, get some behind-the-scenes stuff. And I knew Maverick Carter really well, so I knock on the door. Maverick he goes, oh yeah, come in, Andy, And LeBron is on the other side of the room, and he looks at me like, who is this guy, And he's looking at me, and I felt the tension in there, right? And finally, Maverick goes, no, man, he's cool. He's Kobe's guy. And he goes, oh, yeah, you're cool, man. You're all right. So you know how that goes.
I absolutely do. And honestly, the first year I was in Cleveland, it wasn't really until the second half of the season where I felt like I made some bit of an inroads, and we had a conversation. And he pieced it together that I was following and covering Kobe Bryant for 6 years prior to him, and left living in Los Angeles to move to Cleveland. And I think that I guess showed my level of commitment to the gig, and it certainly helped get my foot in the door further with him because, again, he saw that, well, listen, if Kobe Bryant can have a working relationship with this guy, then I should probably at least give him a chance.
Anybody who moves from L.A. to Cleveland, that's just got to be, the capper right there. Listen, man, the last thing I want to talk about is something near and dear to my heart, a person that has been my partner, my brother in the trenches, my compadre, whatever you want to call it. Nat Butler and I go back to really my first year, when he was an intern.
You guys are the originators of an entire arm of the NBA.
Yeah, he and I helped to create NBA Photos, which is going to be coming up to 40-year anniversary in 2026. Nat is about to launch a book, an epic. It's an opus. I saw it. I saw the copy. Hopefully you did.
Yes.
Which you were very, very helpful and integral to get done. Because we know Nat, he's a little bit in the shadows. Doesn't put himself out there that much. Can you just run me through what makes this book special besides the photography?
Right.
But your role in that.
Yeah. So, it's called Courtside, 40 years of NBA photography. And as you mentioned, Nat, just like you, was working at the NBA, fresh-faced 20-something out of college, and had interned with Sports Illustrated and worked under guys like Walter Ayus and kind of saw their work up close. And he was actually doing clips for David Stern.
And is doing intern stuff.
Yeah, intern stuff. And part of that was to take all these newspapers from around the country and take the text so David could see what's being written about his teams. But while he did that, he's admiring the photography in the Washington Post of, I guess whoever it would be at the time.
Boston Globe.
All these great papers. And, like yourself, was able to, establish not just taking all these great images, but both of you in your time in the industry have helped so many other young photographies through tricks of the trade, through Nat has developed some sort of strobe light system to help with his photography, and now other younger photographers have emulated that, and so kind of the way you guys have approached the job will continue on for NBA Photos for years when you guys put down the cameras. And so there's iconic photos in there, of course, the 96 rookie class, all up against a brick wall, and you're getting dizzy pointing out all the amount of Hall of Famers in that photo, to Michael Jordan, 2-page spread in the dunk contest, flying from the free throw line.
The work is incredible. I mean, the breadth of the work, from portraits to incredible action photography, of course, to behind the scenes, all this stuff that I used to hang my hat on, but what he's been doing also, on the East, and I've been doing the West, and then we would merge at the big events.
Tentpole events, you guys were in Barcelona for the Dream Team, et cetera, et cetera. So where I came in, Nat and I were friends, and we've known each other though for basically the entirety of my career. Because you show up at games and you're there early, and you're chit chat about stuff, and so I helped him by interviewing as many of the subjects in the book as possible. And so going and talking to Ray Allen about, Nat took this shot of you making the three in the corner against the Spurs. Talk to me about it. What do you see in this photo? Where was your head at in the moment? And constant conversations with guys like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, to Magic Johnson, to just keep on going down the list. Patrick Ewing,
all of them.
And Patrick Ewing Adam Silver and Spike Lee all contributed either forwards or afterwards because of their respect and relationship with Nat Butler.
Yeah. I mean, it's truly unique because, as you said, you're getting the player to comment on that moment.
Yeah.
Like Magic literally gave you a quote about the junior skyhook, right? Yeah. Or Ray Allen's 3 to win, or Vince Carter, or whoever it is. And, bravo to Nat for doing it because he deserves to have a book like that.
Yes, he does.
And his career needs to be celebrated, and we at Legends of Sport are going to promote the heck out of it. So, Nat, if you're listening, the Legends of Sport is right here for you, pal.
Excellent. Yeah, I appreciate it. And, it's been cool from my perspective to see both of you guys do your work, and obviously I've been around you a ton in my early days in L.A. But, once I moved to Cleveland, I was around Nat more often, So I've seen both you guys go about your business. I see stuff like, a player leaving the layup line to give one of you guys a silent pound to show respect, and that doesn't happen with everyone. And you guys are both your body of work is incredible, and so
thank you.
I'm a fan of both what you guys do, and I respect it.
Thank you. Yeah, James Worthy once said recently, actually, he says that Nat and I were the original social media guys.
That's right.
There was no social media, but we were the ones who were with them behind the scenes and traveling on the buses and the planes and the locker rooms and documenting all of that. So now they can look back on that and have that to remember their career. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
Dave, I know you're a busy guy here at Summer League, so we're going to let you go, but I can't thank you enough for coming on Legends of Sport podcast, buddy.
I appreciate it, and I love what you're doing with this.
Yeah,
pivot,
there is life after the court.
That's right. All right, Andy.
Thanks, pal.
Great to see you.
Big thanks to Dave for stopping by and chatting with me on this episode. I always enjoy catching up with him. Once again, please check out Nat Butler's book, Courtside, 40 Years of NBA Photography. I know how grateful Nat was for Dave's help in creating this fantastic book. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning into this episode of the Legends of Sport podcast. You know how much we love bringing these conversations to you, so please tell all your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Legends of Sport, and to follow us on Instagram at Legends of Sport and my photography on Instagram at ADB Photo Inc. Big thanks, as always, to our producer, Carlin Barker, our editors, Sean Gosser and Addison Xiao, and our intern, Will Allen. Big shout out to Fujifilm and Memento for being great supporters of the Legends of Sport podcast while we were in Las Vegas, where we recorded this episode with Dave. Thanks again to our loyal followers, and as always, we'll see you again next week for another great episode of the Legends of Sport podcast.